morning students. So we were discussing about the gases exchange in the alveoli and lungs. Okay. So how does the gases exchange takes place between alveoli and lung? Okay. Now I will ask you one question. How does the gases exchange takes place from lungs to blood? What do you think? By which process gases exchange takes place between lungs and blood? Think, you have already studied in your 9th class. So see, I will just tell you, in lungs when you are inhaling the gases, the air enters into your lungs. So there air is present in your lungs. Now it has high pressure. In your blood the air is low, or if you think, so we will discuss in the terms of oxygen. When you are inhaling, oxygen is more in the lungs and less in the blood. Then what happens? Yeah, definitely diffusion happens. So air is exchanged between lungs and the blood by the process of diffusion. By the process of diffusion. Okay, all of you know that. Okay, so as the concentration of oxygen is more in the lungs and less in the blood capillaries, so oxygen from the lungs diffuses into the blood. Similarly, when the blood is carrying the oxygen to the tissues, what happens? The tissue has less oxygen and the blood has more oxygen. So high concentration to low concentration. High concentration to low concentration. Oxygen from the blood enters into the tissues. Oxygen from the blood enters into tissues by the process of diffusion. Okay. So by process of diffusion, the gases get exchanged from high concentration to low concentration. So diffusion plays a main role in the exchange of gases. Now we will see transportation of gases. How does the gas is transported? How does the gas is transported? So gases are transported by which? From lungs. Who carries the gases? So definitely blood. Blood carries the gases. Okay, blood carries the gases from lungs to different organs present in our body. So in blood, which part or which cells will bind with the oxygen? So we know that blood is made up of 3 components. What is that? RBC, WBC and plasma. So these are the 3 components. So which part of the blood will bind with the oxygen? So it is RBC. RBC cells present in the blood will bind with the oxygen. RBC cells present in the blood bind with the oxygen. Okay. So now you are clear that RBC cells bind with the oxygen. Okay. So in RBC, we have a pigment called hemoglobin. In RBC, we have a pigment called hemoglobin. Okay, clear? In RBC cells, we have a pigment called hemoglobin. We know that RBC cells does not have nucleus. Why it does not have nucleus? To carry more oxygen, to take more oxygen so that it can deliver to the tissues. That's why RBC cells are lacking nucleus. So RBC cells contain a pigment called hemoglobin. Because of this hemoglobin, the blood is red in color. The blood is red in color because of hemoglobin. So we have discussed about hemoglobin. So hemoglobin has similar structure with that of chlorophyll. Okay, do you remember? Hemoglobin has similar structure with that of the chlorophyll present in the leaf. So what is the difference between hemoglobin and chlorophyll? In the chlorophyll we have magnesium ion, and in hemoglobin we have iron ion in the middle. So if you draw the structure, there is no requirement for you. If you see the hemoglobin structure, it has iron ion in the middle of its structure. Whereas in chlorophyll, it will have magnesium ion in the middle of its structure. Okay, that is the main difference between hemoglobin and the chlorophyll. Now, the hemoglobin is present in the RBC cells. This hemoglobin has high affinity. It has high affinity to combine with gases. Especially the oxygen. Okay, especially the oxygen. Clear? So, hemoglobin has high affinity to combine with gases, especially with the oxygen. Okay, so just imagine now you are inhaling. The lungs are filled with the air. Now the blood comes from the heart to the lungs. So the lungs take up the gases. So different gases are present in the air: oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen. So hemoglobin will combine with the gas. It is readily combining with the oxygen compared to other gases. Okay, air is definitely a mixture of several gases, but hemoglobin has high affinity to combine with the oxygen compared to carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Okay, we know that 21% of oxygen is present in the atmosphere. 21% of oxygen is present in the atmosphere. So if 21% is going into your body, then hemoglobin will immediately attract the oxygen molecule. Each and every hemoglobin molecule will combine with the oxygen. Okay, so just remember that hemoglobin has high affinity to combine with the oxygen. Okay, then carbon dioxide and nitrogen. So one hemoglobin now if you see, hemoglobin combines with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. Okay, hemoglobin combines with the oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. So I'll write the equation now. Just look at it. Okay, so just first remember that hemoglobin combines with oxygen. So what is formed? Oxyhemoglobin. Very important word, oxyhemoglobin. Now, one molecule of hemoglobin combines with 4 oxygen molecules. Okay, one molecule of hemoglobin combines with 4 molecules of oxygen to give rise to HbO2 to the power of 4 in lungs. Okay, so hemoglobin, one molecule of hemoglobin can bind 4 oxygen molecules to form oxyhemoglobin. So where this reaction is occurring? It is occurring in the lungs because oxygen is present in the lungs. So hemoglobin goes there, means the blood goes there, and the RBC present in the blood the hemoglobin present in the RBC combines with 4 molecules of oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. So this reaction occurs in the lungs. Now the blood is oxygenated, means now the oxyhemoglobin is formed, or you can say the blood has got oxygen. What it will do? It will come to the tissues. It will come to the tissues and deliver the oxygen to the tissues, that is cells, to do their work, to generate energy. Okay, so what happens in the tissues? So now this oxyhemoglobin hemoglobin, that is, this one is now hemoglobin has combined with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. This reaction is occurring in the lungs. Now the blood is oxygenated, blood has got oxygen. Now what it will do? It will go to the tissues to deliver that oxygen to the tissues. So now this oxyhemoglobin, what it will go do? It will go near to the tissues and divide into hemoglobin and oxygen. This oxygen, by the process of diffusion, it enters into the tissues. It enters into the tissues. So the tissues will utilize the oxygen and they will do their activities. Understood? Okay, clear? So see, oxyhemoglobin is there. Now hemoglobin means the blood is rich in oxygen, or it has more oxygen. Now it reaches to the tissues. Tissues have less oxygen. Tissues does not have means we can say tissue have very low oxygen concentration. Now they need oxygen to do their activities. So oxyhemoglobin this is our tissue. So oxyhemoglobin is coming like this, and it will through blood capillaries, very thin structures. Blood capillaries will be like this. Okay. So it will deliver the oxygen molecules. It will deliver. So here somewhere. Okay, blood capillaries will be like this. So they will deliver the oxygen molecules here. So by diffusion, because of more here and less here, by diffusion, they will enter into the cells of the tissues. Okay, I will draw once again. So the blood vessels are divided into blood capillaries, very tiny blood capillaries. Now this is our cell. If you imagine, the blood capillaries will diffuse the oxygen here. So by diffusion process, they will enter the tissues. They will enter into the cells of the tissues. So and hemoglobin remains as it is. Okay, hemoglobin remains as it is. So in the tissues, the hemoglobin again dissociates into, the oxyhemoglobin again dissociates into hemoglobin and oxygen. Understood? So in the tissues, what is happening? The oxyhemoglobin is dividing into hemoglobin and oxygen. Okay. So all these processes occurs by the principle called diffusion, which is very important word. Okay. Now, what happens in the tissues? What happens inside the tissues? So now oxygen has entered into the tissues. So the cell will start synthesizing the ATP molecules. So we know that we already know that glucose will be present inside the cell. So now oxygen has entered into the cell. So now the glucose is converted into ATP by using oxygen. So the glucose in the presence of oxygen, it is converted into ATP. Okay. So during this process we generate carbon dioxide and water. Okay, when these reactions are occurring, so carbon dioxide and water are released as byproducts or the waste products. Okay, so what happens in the tissues now, in the cells of the tissues, we have carbon dioxide and water. This carbon dioxide is not good for the cell. If carbon dioxide remains in the cell like that, the cell will die. So the carbon dioxide should be removed from the cells. So what happened? So now see, this is our blood. So think this is the tissue. So this is our tissue or the cells of the tissue. So this is our blood. Now blood has delivered the oxygen to the tissues. It has given the oxygen to the tissues. Okay, oxygen to the tissues. So, okay, I will draw like this. So this is our tissue thing. So these are the cells. These are the cells. Cells present in the tissues. Now blood has delivered oxygen. Blood has given the oxygen to the tissues. And glucose, understood? Blood has given the oxygen to the tissues. Now the oxygen has entered into the cells of the tissues, and glucose is converted into ATP. So what is liberated? Carbon dioxide and water is liberated in each cell. So this should be removed from the cells. So what happens now? The blood is there. So blood has less concentration of carbon dioxide. Okay, less concentration of carbon dioxide compared to the cells. Cells have more concentration of carbon dioxide inside them. Okay, so from more to less, same by diffusion process, from more to less. So the carbon dioxide is diffused from cells into the blood. Okay, now blood has got carbon dioxide. So what happens? The RBC cells, they have less affinity to react with the carbon dioxide. Okay, in RBC we have hemoglobin. So hemoglobin will combine with carbon dioxide, but in very small quantity. Okay, but if oxygen is there, it will readily combine. But hemoglobin has less affinity for the carbon dioxide. It has very less affinity to combine with the carbon dioxide. And how the carbon dioxide is again sent to the lungs? So RBC which has hemoglobin in it, has less affinity to combine with the carbon dioxide. Okay. So what happens? The carbon dioxide are converted into carbonates. Okay, the carbon dioxide are converted into carbonates. The carbon dioxide are converted into carbonates in the blood, and they are dissolved in the plasma of the blood. So they are combined in the plasma or dissolved in the plasma. Now the blood transfers to the lungs. The blood goes to the lungs. From plasma, the carbon dioxide diffuses into the alveoli of the lungs, and from there it is exhaled. Okay, clear? Carbon dioxide cannot combine with the hemoglobin readily. Only small quantity of carbon dioxide combines with the hemoglobin. So, but there is large quantity in the cells. So, what it is done is carbon dioxide is converted into carbonates. These carbonates are dissolved in the plasma. This plasma will carry the carbon dioxide to the lungs, that is alveoli of the lungs, from where they are again converted into the alveoli will take out the carbon dioxide from these carbonates and they will send out by the exhalation process. Okay, clear? So simple process amma. Oxygen like inhalation chestunama, lungs lo air ostandi. Air is a mixture of gases. So we have carbon dioxide, oxygen and nitrogen in the air. So మనకు కావాల్సిన ఆక్సిజన్. సో ఏం చేస్తుంది, బ్లడ్లో ఆర్బీసీ సెల్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా, ఆర్బీసీ సెల్స్లో వీ హ్యావ్ ఏ పిగ్మెంట్ కాల్డ్ హిమోగ్లోబిన్. హిమోగ్లోబిన్ ఆక్సిజన్తో రెడీగా కంబైన్ అవుతుంది. అయితే ఇట్ హ్యాస్ మోర్ అట్రాక్షన్, త్వరగా అట్రాక్ట్ అవుతుంది ఆక్సిజన్కి. సో లంగ్స్లో ఉండే ఆక్సిజన్, లంగ్స్లో కూడా ఆక్సిజన్ ఫిల్ అయ్యి ఉంది, హిమోగ్లోబిన్ వచ్చింది, ఆర్బీసీ సెల్స్ వచ్చాయి, హిమోగ్లోబిన్ ఉంది కదా, అది టక్కన ఆక్సిజన్ తీసుకుంటారు. 1 హిమోగ్లోబిన్ మాలిక్యూల్స్ టేక్ 4 ఆక్సిజన్ మాలిక్యూల్స్. ఓకే, అది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఈక్వేషన్. ఓకే, సో నౌ ద oxyhemoglobin is formed. 1 hemoglobin is combining with 4 oxygen molecules and oxyhemoglobin form అయిపోయింది. ఇది ఎక్కడ ఫామ్ అయింది అంతా లంగ్స్లో జరిగింది. నా లంగ్స్లో నుంచి మళ్ళీ హార్ట్కి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది, హార్ట్ నుంచి బ్లడ్ డిఫరెంట్ పార్ట్స్ ఆఫ్ ద బాడీకి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో పార్ట్ ఇప్పుడు సపోజ్ నా చేతికి వచ్చింది, నా చేతిలో ఉండే సెల్స్కి హిమోగ్లోబిన్ ఆక్సిజన్ ఇచ్చేస్తుంది బై సేమ్ డిఫ్యూజన్. సెల్స్ లోపల ఆక్సిజన్ తక్కువ ఉంటుంది, బ్లడ్లో హిమోగ్లోబిన్కి ఎక్కువ ఉంది. సో డిఫ్యూషన్ ప్రాసెస్ ద్వారా సెల్ లోపలికి ఆక్సిజన్ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. ఓకే, ఆక్సిజన్ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఏమైంది, ఆక్సీహిమోగ్లోబిన్ ఈజ్ చేంజ్డ్ ఇంటూ అగైన్ బ్యాక్ హిమోగ్లోబిన్ అండ్ ఆక్సిజన్. క్లియర్? నౌ ఆక్సిజన్ వచ్చేసింది, సెల్స్ విల్ యూటిలైజ్ ఇట్ అండ్ జనరేట్ ఎనర్జీ, ఏటీపీ ఫామ్ చేసుకుంటారు. అప్పుడు మనకి కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్, వాటర్ ఫామ్ అవుతుంది సెల్స్లో. సెల్ లోపల ఇప్పుడు కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ ఎక్కువ ఉంది, సెల్ బయట తక్కువ ఉంది. సో ఏమవుతుంది, డిఫ్యూషన్ ద్వారా లోపల ఉన్న కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ బయటకు వచ్చేస్తుంది. అయితే హిమోగ్లోబిన్కి కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్తో కంబైన్ అఫినిటీ తక్కువ ఉంటుంది, కంబైన్ అవుతుంది ఓన్లీ కొంచెం క్వాంటిటీలో, తక్కువ క్వాంటిటీలో కంబైన్ అవుతుంది. సో మన కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ ఏమవుతుందంటే, కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ ఈజ్ కన్వర్టెడ్ ఇంటూ కార్బనేట్స్, కార్బనేట్స్ కింద కన్వర్ట్ అయిపోయి దే ఆర్ డిజాల్వ్డ్ ఇన్ ద ప్లాస్మా లంగ్స్ తీసుకెళ్ళిపోతుంది. అక్కడ మళ్ళీ కార్బనేట్స్ నుంచి కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ తీసేస్తుంది ఆల్వేలే తీసేసి అండ్ అది ఎగ్జలేషన్ జరిగిపోతుంది, బయటకు పంపించేస్తుంది. ఇన్ దిస్ ప్రాసెస్, ఇన్ దిస్ వే ట్రాన్స్పోర్టేషన్ ఆఫ్ gases from lungs to tissues to lungs occurs. Okay, clear? Now there is a question given to you. What is that question?